What's up, people? Sharky back, and today I'm going to be looking at the highly anticipated and somewhat controversial G.I. Joe Classified series, Action Joe Police Emergency Service Unit brackets ESU. So, enough talking and jibber jabber. Let's get cracking into this bad boy. Alright, so we'll take a quick look at the packaging, everything you get inside, but we won't dwell too much on that. QR code to absolutely nowhere. Legacy emblem shield on the top. Possibly some of the worst AI art I've seen on a classified box yet. And we've got to look at the digital render back here with the extra head sculpt, the riot helmet, and a couple of the other accessories. Mumbo jumbo. It is made in, focus, camera focus, China. And we'll give you a quick look at the old barcode. So if you want to search this up, pause your phones or TVs now. And that's that. All right, straight off the bat, I'm just going to see if he stands without any manipulation. And voila, he does. But we are going to go through the accessories before we look at the figure, because that's how I roll. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy the video. All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 accessories plus an extra head sculpt. So we'll start with the glasses, which if you saw my Mercer and Sarge 2-pack review, I think you will find they are pretty much exactly the same with maybe a little bit of a different deco on the sides, but that is them. Next up, you have his nightstick, which of course is the same as the one that comes with Mutt and Law. So if you haven't seen that, that is it. It is straight. It is not cummy. We have the cuffs, and these of course came with chuckles. I don't have chuckles, so I don't know if they're a different deco at all, or if they're a different kind of plastic, but yeah, them pretty straightforward. You can put hands in them, I think. You must be able to, if you take the hands off, I'm guessing. Put them on the wrists. We have one taser. Don't recall if we've seen this before. Did Doc come with that? He might have. I can't remember. I haven't looked at Doc in a while. But it's got a nice yellow deco. Looks similar to the ones that the police force here in Victoria, where I live, use. I've only seen them from a distance. I've never experienced one firsthand. The flare gun. And look, I know some people are just a bit like, meh, why does he come with a flare gun? Well, look, it does say that he is an emergency service unit member. So I guess in the case of an emergency, he's going to pop a flare. I wouldn't overthink it too much, folks. It's a toy. We have the coffee cup, which is no doubt the same as the one that comes with what's his name? Crankcase and the Ore Striker, I believe. I don't have that, so I can't do a comparison for you, but as a close-up look, it says Joe on it, original. I hope they recycle. And we have this sidearm, which I definitely think we've seen before. It's pretty straightforward. It's got a port for blast effects. No removable mag. We have the Street Sweeper, which I know some people are a little bit touchy about the inclusion of this. People are a little bit touchy about this whole release, aren't they? Drum comes out, goes back in, port for blast effects. It's a nice piece, I like it. Again, it's not very gummy, it's quite rigid plastic. We have his police hat, which has some kind of shield on there, which you can get a close-up of if the camera focuses. Looks nice overall. We have the riot shield. I really dig this, even just looking at it from a distance. The speckly kind of like worn nature of it is done really well. It's definitely taken a few hits, a few broken bottles, a few rocks. There's the handle. Look at the handle on the back. And it's, again, not very flimsy at all. It's quite firm. Right, helmet. Pretty straightforward. Visor does not come up. You have to probably take a head off to put it on for the best sort of fit. Close up of it. And the poncho, which I'll get out in a minute. So that comes packaged in this little plastic wrap. And you look at the Caucasian head sculpt. Look at those baby blue eyes. What a handsome man. He's got a nice fade going on. Recently been to the barber. Looking sharp. So there you have it. Alright, that's pretty much the accessories out of the way. Now, before I look at the articulation of the figure and we have a close-up look of it, I just want to talk about this figure and this release a little bit. So, if you saw the most recent social media posts from Hasbro saying that this would be releasing soon, the comment section on the Instagram post that I had a look at was a absolute war zone. And I'm going to read a couple of those comments out to you. And I'm going to give you my view on things. Because I feel like, I need to speak, my mind on this. Like, I'm going to give my take. Let me begin with one of the first comments that I've got for your listening pleasure. Great job, Hasbro. You made a figure that brought the hobby's toxicity and racism to the forefront. Well, let's see now. It's a police officer figure. Hasbro have made police officer figures before. Several times over the years. But more on that later. Now, at the end of the day, Hasbro isn't responsible for other people's views and ideologies and, opinions on the ways of the world, let's say. So, I don't know what possessed this person to, punch this comment into their keyboard and let it fly. I mean, it's a toy. And for now, Hasbro makes toys. And as action figure collectors, we buy them. All right? This here is just a toy. That's all it is, folks. It's not a representation of anything else. It's just a toy. And you can do with it what you like at the end of the day. Anyway, on to the next one. I'm not buying these, bruh. Cool story, man. No one said you had to. We all have choices to make with our money and with our collections. So if you don't want it, don't buy it. That's that simple. Other people will buy it. I've seen many comments saying, need 5, want 6. I'll confess, I want a few. Because they're a world-building figure. They are a nameless character. They just are for world-building, essentially. But they also have a historical tie to the Joe brand. And again, I'm coming back to that. All right. Anyway, let's push on. These figures aren't the G.I. Joe I grew up with. Okay. Well, depending on when you grew up, let's say you're an 80s baby, then you would have grown up and possibly had Shockwave in your collection, who was a SWAT team member before he joined the Joe team. So he's a cop, and there's military police in the line. So I don't know where that guy's coming from. I mean, if you grew up after that, till the 2000s, well, those same figures like Shockwave and Mark Junkyard, Law and Order were released in the 25th line, and even before that, in the Veliversa event line. So yeah, sure, mate, sure. These are for the Back the Blue folks who want to reenact their favourite police brutality incidents. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know any action figure collector who is going, you know what would be a cool idea? I want to reenact the Rodney King beating or the George Floyd murder. I don't think that's happening somehow. But it possessed this person to think that this way. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, again, this is a toy. And, this is just like mind-boggling and baffling. Some of the shit that people come up with. So here's a fun fact for these kind of people. Since 1995, there have been at least 6 police figures released in the G.I. Joe line. Now, granted, they were all 12-inch, right? Some were at retail and some were con exclusives. But this is not an isolated event, all right? And in order, in 95, there was a SWAT team figure. In 97, there was a state trooper. In 99, there was a release called The Trouble at Prosperity Bank, which was like a beat cop uniformed officer figure. In 2001, there was a police officer figure. And in 2002, there was a search and rescue figure. Now, those last 2 releases kind of coincided with September 11, when our police and firemen and, emergency services rescue were like put on a very big pedestal because of what happened in New York. And so they should have been. But no one was complaining about those releases prior. No one was up in arms about the state trooper in 97 or the SWAT team figure. And then in 2011, they released a 12-inch police canine unit. Now, I like dogs. So, of course, that appeals to me, and I'm sure it appeals to many other people. But again, I don't recall anyone in the fandom having a cry about Hasbro releasing a police-orientated figure. That's all I'm going to say on the matter. Let's carry on. The figure itself. I have a close-up look of the attached head sculpt. The head felt a little bit loose, but let's have a look at that while we're here. Okay, so he can look, because he's got this neck joint here, he can look far down here. You can't really look that high up because of the collar. And he can, of course, go 360 there. That just came out because it is the replaceable peg. All right. So I just clicked that back in. It might have actually been a bit loose because it came out pretty easy. So we'll just double check that. Okay, so the overlay here, of course, is the same one that comes with Law and Order, which I don't have, so I can't do a comparison for you, but it is the same. You got a badge up here, holster here. Let's just go ahead and throw. Actually, you know what? We won't throw that in there. Let's throw. Which one do we want to go with? I reckon we'll go with the taser in there. Oh, that's not going to fit. Maybe it's for the flare gun, perhaps? I think it might be. That's a bit of a tight squeeze too. This seems more logical. It could just be that it's a bit tight. Nope. It's got to be for this then. Alright, so I've got a bit of an issue here. the trigger guard for the flare gun will not go past this point of the holster. So this will not attach. Now, I've tried off camera to fit it further. It will not go down further. And I've also tried to fit the taser in there as well. But you can see that that is also obstructed by this part here. So that's interesting. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell too much on it. Let's keep going. So T-pose wise, no problems there. Butterfly joints are good. A lot of range of movement in those, and they are moving very smoothly. Do a close-up of this tampo here for you, if I can get the camera to focus. Come on, mate. As good as it's going to get. All right. Double pinless here. No problems there. And no problems there. We'll do a little close-up of this here. Now, that's interesting. There is writing here underneath this. Take that off so we can have a good closer look at it. Always be careful of taking off your watches. So I'm assuming that's supposed to read state issue underneath his rolled up sleeve. And then on the other side, it has police. Let's go ahead and chuck that back on. Now, let's get this shoulder down. Shoulder swivel is no problem there. Wrist swivel, no issue there. I dare say we'll have the same on the other side. Now his belt has a nice amount of extras to it, but none of it, of course, is removable. You've got the spare set of cuffs here. You've got the slot for the other cuffs, which just sit in like so, I believe. Yep. And you have a torch that you can't take out, but it does look good. Holster on the side, sidearm going there. No problems with that fit. And that is going to sit pretty nicely there actually. It's not falling down, which is a nice change. And then you've got some more pouches here which aren't functional. Thigh swivel there, no problem. And this one is going to be a little bit trickier because of the holster, but drop down hips on each side. Now let's check out the legs here. Yep. No problems there. A little bit stiff, but not overly. And this one. Yep. Can kick his own ass if need be. Boot cut. Bob's your uncle, no worries. And ballerina, you can get his feet down. It's all about there. He's moving really nicely. He's not a clunky figure in any sense. I'll just show you the back again if we didn't have a good look at that. It's pretty basic. I do like this vest though. Oh, I should point out you can also remove the radio here if you weren't aware. You can hold on to that, which is a nice detail. And it should just pop back in. No issues. All right, just quickly before we kit him out, I will show you this, that I pulled it underneath the handle here, right? So as I can attach it here, but it does not want to stay in there. Once you get it on there and apply a bit of pressure, it pops out. So that, we'll try again. Let's see if I can do it a bit close up for you so you can see. Yeah, it just wants to come out. So that's a bit meh. And I wonder if, like, because I don't want to pull it and overstretch it, but I'm going to give it a little tug. That's what she said. And see if it... I'm just going to hold it here for a few seconds. Yeah, nah, it keeps coming out. So yeah, just something to be mindful of. Now, I want to do some head swaps for you. And I just want to show you this on camera because I've just been trying for like the last minute or two off camera. To get this neck joint out is really, really tough. And I'm applying a fair amount of force and it does not want to budge. We'll try this one. See if this is any easier. No. All right, I'm going to try this off camera because I want to see if some other heads will fit on this. All right, so it took about 40 seconds sitting in a bath of hot water, but we got there. It took a fair bit of force on my behalf. So there's a look at the peg and head hole. So why don't we take this Mercer head sculpt and see if that fits on there. I feel like it's not going to. I don't know. Oh no, it does. It fits. There you go. If you haven't seen my Mercer and Sarge review, you can go back and have a look after you watch this. It's a bit loose, but it does sit properly. All right, next up, we've got the Kamakura head sculpt from earlier in the line. Should fit. Let's have a look. Oh, no, maybe not. Oh, does that kind of fit? It looks like it should fit the peg, but I think it's not going to. No. All right. And this, now that I've warmed this up a bit, see, it's a bit loose. And it comes out very easily. See, like maybe a little bit too easily because that recess is not very deep. We do love a good deep recess, don't we? I think this is going to be too big. Yeah, that's too big. That's the old flint. Oh, it does. Actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't sit on there. So the older head sculpts aren't a go. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this out, the neck joint. I want to try something else real quick. Just looking at it now, I don't think it's going to work, but I've taken the Declan Van Helsing neck and head sculpt off the Operation Monster Force figure because I just want to see if that would fit in here. And I don't think it, yeah, nah, it's too big, way too big. So, yeah, Operation Monster Force neck, no bueno. All right, this one works well, and that's leather neck. That literally clips in, no problems, and there is focus. Thank you. It's a bit limited here because you get stuck on the cuff, but looks good. I was going to do a head swap with Alpine, who you can't see, he's over here in the cabinet, but the skin tones don't match, so I'm not going to bother. And I don't think the OG Roadblock head sculpt will fit just because of the ball peg size and how old that figure is. So I'm not going to do that. But yeah, you can have a play around with it once you get yours. So as I said before we went on a bit of a tangent, let's kit him out. So here he is with his cup of joe, his hat and glasses on. And I've thrown the nightstick and the cuffs onto his belt. And I was a little skeptical about how well he'd be able to hold this cup, but once you maneuver the thumb around, you can get in there pretty good. Well, pour the coffee on your head. Goose. All right. Thrown the poncho on him, and I've given him this badge that came with the Marvel Legends Jimmy Choo figure, I think his name is. And the poncho is of the same design in terms of the cut, the material, as the one that came with the Action Soldier from the Legacy line as well. And yeah, it just drapes over. There's room for the nightstick to sit out there. It sits pretty well. Like, gives him, you know, a different look. Will be great for people who are able to do figure photography in the rain, something like that. All right, here he is with the ride shield and ride helmet. And putting this on was a bit of a pain in the rectum because you can see here it's fitting over his head, but one moment, please. Get off there, mate. Fucking hell. All right, so this strap here is really hard to get over the chin and putting it on, like, because taking the head off the neck peg is tricky. So I just jammed it on and put that at the back. Like, really, at the end of the day, who cares? You could always cut it off too if you don't want it. Like, it's not an essential component of it, but it does fit on there. The shield, less problematic in terms of getting that on. And he holds this quite well. One thing I didn't show you guys earlier that I just want to quickly touch on also is the ab crunch when I was doing the articulation. So obviously he can bend over like that, but I think because of this vest, you're going to be quite inhibited in terms of movement that way. And you just heard it click that way, and even going back that way, side to side. You're going to get about that far. And about that far. So yeah, there's that. Here he is with just the glasses on. And his sidearm. You of course cannot get him into a two-handed pose to really hold that weapon. The vest is going to inhibit the arms, but we all know that classifieds don't really have that kind of functionality. But yeah. The glasses do stay on without the hat as well. Are a pretty good fit. Whether or not I'd be using them, well, that's another story. All right, let's do some comparisons, shall we? Straight up, we've got Shockwave. Of course, it would be amiss if I didn't compare him with this guy. And we've got one of the Cobra Troopers, the original ones. And in terms of the blues, he fits the Cobra Troopers pretty well. So, you know, if you wanted to have some ARBCO police in a Springfield diorama, let's say, that would work pretty good. But at the same time, if you wanted Shockwave to back him up in a scenario where they're kicking in some doors or something, then it works as well. We'll switch this guy out. Throw in the Legacy Firefighter. Why you got the janky leg, buddy? Yeah, he looks good alongside him. If you guys don't have the Legacy Firefighter yet, I would suggest you get a couple. They look great. So yeah, that's the Joe side of things. Let's have a look at how he pairs up with some Marvel Legends. Okay, so Frank Castle, Punisher from the 2-pack with Bushwhacker over here, and the Gamerverse Kingpin over here. So if you want some corrupt cops to back up Wilson over here and do his dirty work along with Bullseye, then bang, you've got him. If you want Frank to go head to head with the same corrupt cops, bang, you've got him. And if you want to go back and watch my review of this guy, which I just pumped out a couple of days ago, you can do that as well. And lastly, I've got him over here with one of the Operation Monster Force Delta Red Nocturnal Troopers, I think it is. Something like that. Can't remember. And I have the Reservoir Dogs Mr. Blonde. And that's it, folks. I'm going to wrap this up, give you some final thoughts, and away we go. I like it. I think you get plenty of fun stuff with it. It all works pretty well, except for, you know, the taser in the holster. But, you know, that's probably fixable. I like the fact that, you get 2 different head sculpts. Of course, it lends to buying more of these, and I will be doing that, like I mentioned earlier. I think overall, it's going to be popular with a lot of people at the end of the day. I mean, look here, I've got him with the Tracksuit Mafia, and I've got him cuffed, and, he's leading him away. There's just many, many possibilities in terms of setting this figure up in whatever fashion you like, good or bad. On that note, I recommend getting it. It's that simple. Like, there's no real flaws with it. Like, obviously, the stiffness in the head and neck joint, but then again, that's fixable with a bit of hot water or a heat gun. No biggie at the end of the day. I want to see more legacy real world inspired characters. Next up, give us a paramedic. We've already had military side of things, and now, they're giving us this side of things. So bring on more, I say. I know this has been a long one, so I'm not going to prattle on any further. I just want to say, have fun with your toys, folks. Don't let politics and all that crap interfere with having fun. That's what it's about at the end of the day. The hobby is supposed to be escape from reality, not polluted with crap that has nothing to do with action figures. That's it. Take care of yourself. Be kind to one another. And say hi to your dogs for me. Until next time.